agents, and welcome to the 19th episode, the very best episode of the One Bite at a Time show. This is where we go out and we find the most relevant information, the most important information you need right now in your business for growth so you can make money.
We are going to be talking about credit repair, and we even have a special guest for you guys. We have Tiffany Cook from Credevolv, formerly known as Dedicated Credit Repair. Thanks, Tiffany.
Thanks so much for having me, you guys. This is going to be fun.
All right, so this is a great topic today. You know, there's so many people out there that need credit repair, and they don't know where to go, and there's a lot of wackos out there doing all kinds of things, right and wrong, promising the world. And I've worked with Tiffany for many, many years now. I don't know how many years. Tiffany, do you know?
About 16 years, Steve.
16 years. That's a lot of years. And you have started your company. You've grown over the years. You were Dedicated Credit Repair, and now you're Credevolv, and you're all over the nation, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you so much, Steve. Yes, that is exactly right. We have known each other a very long time, and it's an honor to be featured. Dedicated Credit Repair was my baby. It started about 17 years ago, and it was born out of the need for my own personal credit issues. I had kind of had some hiccups in my own personal life, and we sought out at that time to seek out credit repair, and quickly realized that there were about 90% of the industry that were essentially bad actors. To your comment, there's just so many people that operate illegally in our space. So Dedicated Credit Repair was one of the few companies that was registered with the Department of Justice, doing all the right things. And for 17 and a half years, we proudly served about 10,000 clients as a rough estimate. About a year ago, I became acquainted with Credevolv and absolutely fell in love with what Credevolv does. And quite frankly, you guys, so much of it is so hard to capture in just a short conversation, but it just elevated the industry so substantially that not only were we able to extend and expand our bandwidth to work with clients in all 50 states, but we were able to capture the attention of Fannie and Freddie and all tons of mortgage banks nationwide. Because of our technology platform, we were able to create such a robust ability to really cater to the needs of the credit challenge client. So we have literally encompassed what I call credit repair on steroids with a high touch technology platform with even more accelerated results.
So clients around here locally, you're local right here in the Temecula-Murrieta area. So clients around here will not only have you personally be able to meet with them if that's necessary, but you can actually work with anybody in any state. Is there any states you can't work in?
That's such a good question. No, we're able to work with clients in all 50 states, and the government is very particular about an out-of-state credit repair company operating and servicing clients in California and outside. In fact, there's all kinds of fines and things that can happen. So our program is basically what would happen is when you refer a client to us, Steve, all of our credit repair is now conducted by HUD certified nonprofit agencies. And so I oversee that. My staff is still the point of contact. My team at DCR is now under Credevolv. But because of the HUD certification, we can now literally provide AUS, so automatic underwriting service, automated underwriting service. We have the ability to not only fix credit, but provide you, the end user, the referral partner, with actual mortgage FICO scores for each client every single month. And clients don't have to pay for that. It's part of their program. So we have abilities to not only pull credit every month, but see exactly where the mortgage FICO scores are and provide that to you as the referral lender. But we do much, much more than just removing negative information. The HUD counselors, because of the HUD certification, they now have the ability to work with creating budgets for families. Your clients now have the ability to pay their bills right through our platform, so they never miss payments moving forward. We can actually put in all their monthly expenses into our system so that the bills can be paid on time. We work with their debt to income ratios. We work with settling collection debt. So what we offer is so much more than the traditional credit restoration. It's truly creating a mortgage ready client in just 4 to 6 months.
It's funny you bring up the whole AUS system because that's actually been something that's very frustrating for a lot of my clients. Everyone knows that lenders have a quote unquote minimum FICO score, and sometimes that FICO score is not even the issue. They'll meet all the minimum requirements, but there's just something on the credit that is causing that AUS to be a refer instead of an accept. So it's really good that you have the capabilities to be able to provide that for clients, especially when it's not just about the score. It's actually about the quality of what is reporting on the report.
100%. And that was one of the things that was a missing component with my baby dedicated credit repair. We just didn't have access to the technology and the relationships with Freddie. So Freddie has given us exclusivity to be able to do that. So in our platform, we are able to not only run simulations, the same very similar simulations that would be ran by a mortgage lender, but we do that every single month and we run it through AUS. So we're able to give that coaching call very, very specific to what the loan program guidelines would be, while we're simultaneously working on getting negative items deleted from credit profiles. You and I, Roxann, talked a lot before about the companies out there that are being referred and they're charging upfront fees and they're doing all these things that are quite frankly illegal. And unfortunately, doing that is just not optional, right? It'd be kind of like somebody doing taxes out of their garage for friends and calling themselves a CPA. I mean, you really need to know who you're working with, trust who you're working with, and know, quite frankly, that not only is this consumer friendly, but the government actually is encouraging banks to refer to our platform.
Yes, and I think it is a very big deal, especially for professionals like real estate agents and loan officers who do go out of their way to refer credit repair, is that the credit repair company is extremely reputable. That is just one of the biggest qualities of working with you, Tiffany, and I really appreciate that. Another thing that I really love about working with dedicated credit repair and also with Credevolv, now that it is Credevolv, are your updates. A lot of credit repair agencies only update between the client and the credit repair agency. And because the client doesn't deal with credit repair every single day or even understand it, when they get updates, they just think they're not telling me anything, or I don't know, I just sent them their stuff. But what's beautiful about your company is that you update the referral partner so that I can have those side conversations with the client, just kind of cheering them along, making sure that they're doing their due diligence to get credit, improved. So
thank you. And one of the things that I'm just so proud of is that credit repair, I mean, I could always say that results were there, right? But if their clients are falling out of the program, we need to take a look at why. Why do consumers not complete a credit repair program? Well, quite frankly, previously, and we were considered one of the best in the best as dedicated credit repair, but we weren't able to contact every single client every month and make sure they were doing what we told them to do. And now we can. And not only do we do that every month, but we record the conversations. So much so that at the very end of the conversation, the consumer has to complete a very short phone survey, 5 being, I absolutely loved it, 1 being, it was horrific. Anything less than a 5 results in a call back and triggers a call back from the credit coach to say, okay, Roxann, it looks like you gave us a 4. What topic did we cover that you need more information on? Or how can I better explain your credit card utilization and how important that is? So we really just take this to the next level where we're saying, you know what, this is like a gym membership, right? You're joining the gym and we're going to be the trainer, and there's no way not to lose weight if we're helping you with your diet, and we're really there to coach you and make certain that you're accountable for the roadmap. Now, let's assume a client doesn't meet a monthly milestone. It happens, right? We see clients, they'll get a new 30-day late or a new unexpected collection account, or perhaps they went shopping at CarMax over the weekend and decided that they needed a new car out of nowhere. When that happens, we need to know immediately, and you need to be notified immediately. So when the coaching calls happen and we get a copy of the new report again the next month, and we see that there's been somewhat of a backslide, you're immediately notified, just like you would be if we met a milestone, because we're working with people with real life circumstances, and we all know that the unexpected happens to really good people sometimes. So without judging them, we just come alongside, create a new way forward, and then we notify you so that you can stay, as you said, super in touch with your clients.
Also, a lot of people will tell me on the phone, well, all credit repair people do is dispute things. Well, I can do that, and I'm going to do that. And then, of course, I find out 2 years later they're in the same place they were or worse. What do you tell people that say, well, I can do that on my own?
You know, I used to say something different. So I used to say, right, I mean, you can do your own taxes and you can, do a for sale by owner on your home. There's things you can Google and there's things you shouldn't Google, right? So ultimately, there's a way to actually dispute an item that will put a hard verification on it, right? So if you dispute something incorrectly and you've provided a reason, and that reason to your dispute basically acknowledges that the account belonged to you, then all you really did was provide what we consider proof or evidence to the credit bureaus that you deserve to have that on your credit report, and you just basically gave them the proof that it belonged to you. So what we do, of course, is dispute things using a very high touch technology, where when we scan the credit reports, we're looking for areas of vulnerability that look for incomplete information, unverifiable information, duplicate information, erroneous information. When we do that, if we find a third of the information right there, that very first month falls under any of those categories, not only do we dispute direct with the creditor, but we also dispute simultaneously with the credit bureaus. Most credit repair companies do not do that. They send generic letters. I call it the 1990s version of credit repair, where they're essentially hoping that the credit bureaus don't respond. That's not the new credit repair. That is not how credit repair should have been operated for the last 20 or so years. So everything evolves with technology. I would never use Credit Karma or any of those wonky sites that could lead the consumer down a very long path of destruction.
So you mentioned Credit Karma. Does Credevolv have like a basic membership for monitoring their credit, or are you guys fully packaged, or how does that work?
That is one of the best things about the program. So a client does not have to pay for an outside monitoring website. Because of our HUD certification, we actually pull mortgage FICO scores every single month. It's a soft inquiry. It does not negatively impact the consumer, and it's a part of our process. So there's no need for them to open and establish credit monitoring. And of course, as you mentioned, depending on the monitoring site, they may have subscribed to, they're probably getting a Vantage score, and that Vantage score does nothing but disappoint the consumer when they're looking at wrong scoring models for the mortgage lending goal. So all of that's taken care of. It's not an additional expense. And like I said, credit repair is so much more than just removing negative information. And the reason why our program is so much shorter than the average is because we're not just sending letters to dispute negative information. We're truly looking at the AUS, going through the underwriting model, and literally attacking every piece of what's impacting their ability to purchase.
And to the agents watching, a lot of times in our business, when we talk about staying in contact with your client, Credevolv does it for you. And just like Steve was mentioning about working with Credevolv as a partner, as long as you have that open communication, since Credevolv is reaching out to your client every month, you're getting informed. Same thing with their update, which could trigger you to make sure you keep in contact with that client.
And we follow up together, so they know that there's a whole team behind us. We mentioned your name as a real estate agent, as well as Tiffany or Credevolv and the team over there, so that they know that there's a whole team of people working with them. Tiffany, one of the things I wanted to ask you is about debt settlement. There are some people that I run into that, they have $30,000 and some of their debt is active collections. And it used to be, and I don't know if it's still true, it used to be that it makes more sense for them to settle that debt and then have you work on it. Tell me what you feel about that now. What's changed in that world?
So, debt settlement in and of itself is very different than collection account assistance. If you're late on everything currently and everything is in what we call a derogatory status, then before you would be ready for credit repair, which I always say credit repair is like the plastic surgery after the financial hardship. But if you're still running in that financial hamster wheel and you're just not able to see a way forward, then during our consultation, we're going to look at different options for you. And you may need debt settlement. Debt settlement, if done correctly, can really bring you forward so that you could be ready for credit repair. But when I say done correctly, I have to stress that there is a really important focus that we have to align with, because some debt settlement companies put you further into crisis, meaning you don't pay your bills. They make you pay them for 6 months before they begin to actually negotiate. And then you have late payments accumulating that whole time. So you really need to make sure that you're aligned with the right way forward, especially if your goal is mortgage readiness. Sometimes the right answer for a consumer is to file bankruptcy. If they're $60,000 underwater and they're barely making their minimum payments and they just can't take a deep breath, then sometimes that would be the approach that they should take. Our focus is just to give a roadmap, right? So every client deserves to have accurate information provided to them. And it may be that during that discussion and discovery, we discover that, yes, they were initially talking to a real estate agent, but they weren't even paying their current mortgage, to buy a new home. So if that happens, without judgment, we just need to give them a fast track towards what can we do to stop the bleeding in the quickest way forward so we can get them back on track, because credit issues don't need to be a lifelong prison sentence. And I feel like the biggest hurdle that we face is that consumers get so discouraged that they just put their heads in the sand and they just kind of accept that they have bad credit, and they don't realize that just by investing time and just frankly 6 months or so in a credit repair program, they can be back on track. So it doesn't have to be a lifelong sentence.
So Tiffany, we also see that you sometimes throw classes for young adults or teenagers, educating them on credit repair. Is that something you can still continue to do with Credevolv?
Yes, thank you for asking, because that is the heart of my person. I love education. I feel like it's just so needed and it's underprovided, not only in the schools, right? We know that our kids are learning all kinds of things that they'll never, ever, ever use again. And why is this missing from our school curriculum?
So they don't even teach them how to run a checkbook anymore.
They don't. We could go on a whole tangent.
Well, sorry, Steve, I don't write checks anymore. I order them, but I don't write them.
I have to say, I feel the same. And we hire people for our team, and when we want to do direct deposit for them, they have to provide a check so that we can, and they're like, what's a check? Where do I get a check? So the classes that we offer are very much driven to the youth. I would say the best age to start them would be 17. We go all the way from 17 to the college graduate. And we can talk about different dates that we offer. And if they're on Zoom, they do have a registration fee. I believe the last time we offered it was $40. It's an hour-long workshop. I call them kids, even though some of them are in their 20s. But they leave with a workbook, and they leave with learning what is good credit versus what is bad credit. How do I refinance student loans down the road? How does a car loan differ from credit cards? How many credit cards should I have? How fast should I open them? What is the right way to use the credit card so that I'm not damaging my credit? So many things that are just critical to being what I call an excellent adult. So we do offer that. And then for realtors, if you're a real estate agent and you want to provide a consumer-facing workshop, I have a great class called FICO Sense to a White Picket Fence. Roxann and Steve can co-sponsor with us, and we can come live, and Roxann and Steve can offer the mortgage guidance that would accompany the class. And you can bring your consumers at no cost to you to participate in a very similar workshop. Much of the information is something that would be similar to the youth workshop, but it's very much on topic, very relevant to COVID or post-COVID. I call it the recession-proof credit tips that will really help you get through the trying times of potentially having underemployment or any of the things that could have happened to your family during COVID.
Sounds like anybody who's going to get married who's young should take your classes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Steve, you and I have done so many.
Father of the bride.
There you go.
My daughter's getting married next month.
Great wedding present.
That's a good one.
All right,
They don't even know how much what value that brings, for sure.
One last thing, Tiffany, and we've had such a great session here. We've been running over time here shortly, but one last thing, I always recommend to my real estate agents or the agents that work with us is, of course, the real estate agents themselves can refer people directly to you, and that's fine. But I always suggest that they recommend their client talk to one of us first, so that we can get a better sense of what they need for the mortgage that they're trying to get qualified for. And we can give you more information during the initial consultation so that you can set them up a little differently, maybe a little bit more productively. What say you?
100%. And quite honestly, I love my real estate referral partners, but in almost every situation, I recommend that Steve or Roxann be the point of contact, because your clients tend to share with us and Steve and Roxann a lot more than they share with the realtor. And sometimes in those discovery conversations, we find out, oh, I don't want my realtor to find out that I'm actually changing jobs and this and this. And they have a little bit more tendency to be a little more transparent with us. But agreed, Steve and Roxann know mortgage lending. Literally, you could not get a better varsity squad here. So they already know what needs to happen on the mortgage readiness side for underwriting. But when we come alongside with the FICO wisdom, it's like a power team, and we will already be pushing that client back to you, Mr. and Mrs. Lender or Realtor. So I do think it is the right way. It would be for Steve and Roxann to be the main point of contact. And certainly that would be my recommendation as well.
All right. Well, that was a great show. And as a reminder, folks, on October the 13th, we're going to be at the Murrieta Wine Ranch. I used to call it the wine bar, but I guess it's the Wine Ranch. So if you wanted to schedule some time, make a mark in your calendar. We'd love to see you, love to hang around with you a little bit. We'll be at the Murrieta Wine Ranch on October 13th from 4 to 7 or 8 o'clock, however long you want to be there. And your first 2 drinks are on us.
Well, crap, if your drinks are on you, maybe I'll cancel my Florida trip.
There, appreciate you being on the show today. We look forward to seeing you next week at the 20th episode of the One Bite at a Time show, which will then be the best episode of the One Bite at a Time show. We'll see you guys later. Bye.